Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Worship Drumming. This is a channel where I teach drum lessons based around a worship-centered context, and I also do drum tutorials for popular worship songs. Today, we're going to be doing a drum tutorial for Take You at Your Word. My main emphasis today is to break down the chorus and the bridge parts. Let's go ahead and get started with the main thing that you're going to need to know for this song. You're going to need to know what triplets are. A lot of our songs that we listen to and worship are usually around 8th notes or 16th notes. This song is actually based around triplets. So whenever you're playing a triplet, this is putting 2 notes in between each quarter note. So for example, 8th notes only have 1 beat in between there. It's that and. So you got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. There's that just 1 hit in between there each time. With triplets, there's 2 hits in between there, and I like to count them like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so you hear that there's those 2 notes in between there. It's when I'm saying and. Another way that you could also do this is by saying the word triplet, which is kind of the more proper way to do it. So it'd be like 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. However you want to count it, whatever helps you learn best, please, please, please do that. As we get ready to talk about the intro of the song, this is my first time recording an acoustic drum kit, so please bear with me. As we start the song off in the first verse, really, where it starts with "Your Way" is the lyrics there, we're going to be holding down 4 on the floor. So that's just hitting our kick drum on all of our quarter notes there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. The metronome that I'm going to be using today is at 115 BPM, clicking on all the quarter notes. So that would just be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, over and over. We're going to throw some accents in on the toms as well. You could throw these in as rim clicks, but I'm just going to throw them in on my floor tom as just some really soft hits here. So these hits are going to be on 2, the and of 2, and then also on beat 4. So go 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4. Here's what it would sound like with the metronome. You basically just play that repeated over and over again as it builds up into the chorus. Let's go ahead and start talking about the chorus now, which is the main thing I want to be breaking down for you today. The choruses kind of build upon themselves, but still have the same basic root idea of where you're hitting your toms, where you're putting your triplets and everything. This is where it's going to get a little bit complicated, but if you are like a brand new beginner person, you can get away with just the first bar of the chorus. The chorus is technically a repeated 4-bar phrase here that I'm show you in a minute, but really it just comes down to the core of playing that 4 on the floor we just did a second ago and that tom accent, but just playing that tom accent with both hands and getting a little bit more into it since we're playing in a chorus part. So it'd be like 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4. And just playing that over and over again, if you're a beginner, this is going to help get you through this song to where you don't have to worry about playing any of these triplets. Let me just show you really quick what that would sound like. Pretty basic, pretty straightforward. Now, let's talk about what if you wanted to expand on that a little bit? Well, I'm going to introduce the second bar, and technically you could just keep looping these 2 bars over and over. I'm going to have some sheet music down below. Yes, finally, for the first time in worship drumming history, we have sheet music that many of you have requested. I don't even know if I did it right, so hopefully I did. I know I got some crashes on there. That's really going to be for some later choruses along with the snare drum. Once again, going to get to that in just a little bit. For this 2-bar phrase, what you're doing is keeping the 4 on the floor the whole time. That doesn't change. Really, all that changes is our hands and when we're playing things. And this is where a triplet's going to come into play on the second bar. So the first bar is still the same. We go 1, 2, and 3, 4. The second bar, we go 1, 2, and 3, 4. And that can be a flam on the snare, or it could be a crash and a snare. I'm going to play it as a crash and a snare, but I'm going to be crashing on my ride cymbal over here. So let me show you that again. So the second bar, we're going to hit the kick drum on 1, and then we're playing a triplet, so we got to count this as 2 and or 2 triplet. And so how that will be played is we'll play 2 triplet, 2 triplet. Remember your kick drum still hitting that 2. So 2 triplet. So 1, 2 triplet, 3, 4. 1, 2 triplet 3, 4. 1, 2 triplet 3, 4. Let me show you what that would sound like with the metronome. Now, like I said, as you play into more choruses and you want them to get more intense, start throwing beat 4 all the time on the snare drum if you want. You could just get away once again with looping that over and over. This is where I'm going to get to the people who are a little bit more advanced, and I still have a struggle playing this sometimes because I'm not used to it. Here is what the entire chorus would be. It's those first 2 bars we just did, and now we're going to throw a repeat of the first bar. So how it will basically go, first bar we just played, that's the 1, 2, and 3, 4. Okay? Then you're going to play that triplet walk down on the second beat on the second bar. This is what I just showed you. So 1, 2 triplet 3, 4. The third bar is just a repeat of the first bar. So third bar, same thing as the first bar. 1, 2, and 3, 4. However you want to play that 4, whether it's a flam on the snare, flam on the toms, or a crash and a snare. Kind of just really varies throughout the song. There's no like real rhyme or method to it all the time. And then the fourth bar, this is where I'm going to take some time to try to break this down. This fourth bar is a triplet fill, and if you're looking at it on the sheet music, it looks complex and it feels complex to play. Let me try to really break this part down for you and then play the whole thing together. So how this last bar works is you're going to be playing your crash on beat 1. Okay, so we'll crash on beat 1, and then if you're counting your triplets, so it goes 1 triplet. On the trip there, we are resting. So it would be, we'll play on 1, so it'd be like 1 triplet. So the first beat there, once again, would be 1 triplet. And that lit is my left hand hitting the rack tom. Okay, so we'd crash with our kick, we go 1 triplet. It's weird because there's that rest in there. And then on 2, our kick drum is going to play by itself. 1 triplet. 2 is on our kick drum. And then we play triplet. Then we play 3 on our kick drum again. And then we play triplet again on the floor tom. So the first beat's really what's hard to get down there. So we go 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4, and that 4 is a crash between the snare and I'm really doing a washy ride cymbal on this one. And I'll show you why I'm alternating my hands on the right left then bouncing back to left right. I'll show you that here in a moment. So this whole fill is 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4. Now the 2 and the 3 are the same thing. It's just kick right left for the 2, so it's 2 triplet. Then on 3, I'm playing kick left right. So on 3, it's 3 triplet. The reason I'm playing kick left right on 3 is so that way my left hand can get back over here to the snare drum a little bit faster. So it's got a further distance to travel than my right hand just coming up and hitting the ride cymbal. So 3 triplet, crash on 4. Let that ring out so you can loop back to beat 1. Let me go ahead and show you what that sounds like by itself. It's kind of a fast fill. It is hard to play by itself. Once you throw it together in the entire chorus though, it really starts to make sense and it just flows so nicely, especially whenever you hit that 4 and then come back in on 1 right at the same time. It just feels really good getting that over and over again, just looping that section there. So if you put all of that together, all 4 of those bars together, you can then play the chorus and just keep looping that over and over again. I'm going to show you what that sounds like. I'll play it a couple times as well to try to throw in some different accents here and there, and then we'll get into the bridge and then playing the final chorus. So hopefully you see there's some different ways that you can still continue to play that same thing, just throwing in some extra cymbals, when to hit the snare and a crash cymbal at the same time. Many different ways to do that. Just kind of use your drummer's intuition as you go through it. If you really got to just break it down and be like, I can only play this over and over, then do that. But as you get to the second chorus and stuff, you really want to start throwing in those cymbals to add the energy behind the music. Now, let's talk about the bridge here. And now I don't have sheet music for this bridge, so that's all the sheet music you're getting from me today. So for whenever you play this bridge, a lot of it's just kind of got this do, 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 do. If you listen to the lyrics as you play the song, it's mainly you're just kind of hitting and accenting those lyrics over and over again. So it's like, you say I'm saved, bum, 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 bum. And then so it's just hitting these accents. And really this is where you can be creative in how you do it and how you build this part up. Do it as just hitting my toms and then just a big flam before the pause. So I'd be like, da, 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 boom, da, 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 boom. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really even know how you're technically supposed to count this. But if I had it with the metronome really quick, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You say I'm saved. Bum, 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 bum. So same thing, just like over and over, throwing in some crash cymbals. Like I said, I don't technically know how you would count some of that because you're kind of going to halftime on there, and with triplets, as that's clicking on the quarter notes, what halftime would be is that you're hitting your snare drum on beat 3. So it'd be like 2, 2, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4. So however you feel like counting that, you can really just kind of feel this one with the music. And I know I'm being a terrible teacher right now, not knowing exactly how that breaks down and how to explain that part. But let me go ahead and just play it for you with the metronome. I'll show you some different things that I would do here. And then we'll talk about this build, this huge build that sounds really cool at the very end. So there's just an idea of some different things you can do where you're just still keeping that same like boom, 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 pap, and then just throw in some little fills, hit the cymbals where you feel that you should do it, and then that's going to help you build into the final part. And then the final part, this is where this song is difficult, but I will explain to you how they're actually doing this. So at one point, they're going to repeat the chorus, and then the build is a straight triplet eighth note build. So those triplets I told you earlier where it's 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. You're playing all of those except your kick drum is just keeping the quarter notes. So we're still keeping that 1, 2, 3, 4. But our hands are playing the snare drum and a washy hi-hat, so not closed like that. We're letting it kind of ring out a little bit. So as we play that, we're playing 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. So, and that's the whole time our kick drum's going. So it's 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. However you want to count it. Now, your non-dominant hand, for me it's my left, is probably not going to be able to keep up with this that well. My right hand can keep up with it just fine for the most part, but my left hand struggles. So I actually bring my left hand down to quarter notes so it's playing less often. And then you can actually kind of accent that a little bit on the hi-hat. Still makes it sound nice. The hi-hat kind of gives it a nice washy sound as you're building it up, so it swells really big back into the final chorus. But like I said, I just mainly play the eighth notes with my right hand, just playing that 1 and I'm going to do my best to try to show you what this sounds like. So the build goes a little bit longer than that, but hopefully you get the idea of what you're doing there, that right hand really holding down those triplets on the snare. If you can do that with your left hand, that's great. You can kind of do what I did there, and on that last bar, just really try to play them together. It's going to kind of trash can into this big chorus anyways. So how this big chorus is basically played is you're going to go back to what you did at the very first chorus and keeping it kind of dry without a lot of cymbals. So as we build, it's like take you at your word is a big crash, and then we just go 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, and a 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, a 2, and a 3, and a 4. So just keep doing that same chorus thing I showed you earlier. And then it's gonna build back into this really big chorus that's actually super simple to play. So the last bit of the chorus and the outro is super easy. So let me break that part down, and then I'll try to show you what it looks like all together. There is a small little triplet build back into this last bit here, and I'm going to show you all that together here in just a minute. But for the last chorus, your right hand is up here playing quarter notes. Just go 1, 2, 3, 4. Same thing with our kick drum. Just 1, 2, 3, 4. And then our left hand is playing that same tom pattern that we did at the very beginning. We're just always hitting the snare on those instead. So it's 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4. And it just has this really nice big full sound to it. So here's kind of what the ending of the song would sound like all together. This isn't going to be the exact amount of measures. I'll put on the screen kind of where I would be playing these parts in the song. So hopefully that part makes sense there as you're kind of playing the down chorus, builds up a little bit into the actual chorus there. I hope this video was helpful for you guys to learn some of these parts. Let me know what you thought about the sheet music. Absolutely trash me in the comments if it was terrible. Leave a thumbs up if you learned something new, and then subscribe if you're interested in more content like this in the future. Thank you guys for taking your time to watch this video. Really hope this helps you out.